Oh, you're fine. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go. We are live. Hello and welcome to Talk Shop. I'm one of your hosts, Reka.
I'm your other host, Jordan.
And today we have the incredibly talented, very funny Ify Nwadiwe. Ify, thanks for joining us.
Oh no, anytime. I love this. I love the idea of this show. I think it really makes me, especially because the season we're talking about is one of the earlier seasons. I didn't know we were this far back. This was an era where like Top Chef had its foot on the necks of reality TV watchers. Now there's so many more reality shows. Like I think there are so many reality shows, and I keep wanting to say Talk Chef because the branding is on point. Top Chef is one of those shows that like was pre reality TV explosion,
Yes. They sort of set the tone for reality cooking shows, certainly. And it's just such early Bravo. And they've a lot of their winners have went on to do great things, right? Like
Absolutely.
Was Bobby Flay a Top Chef guy?
No, he was an Iron Chef, which is the Food Network.
Common mistake.
It's Iron Chef America, technically.
You're totally right. There's a ton of Top Chef people that you've probably like been to their restaurants in LA, especially like LA and New York. A lot of them. Chicago.
I actually had a friend audition for Top Chef. He didn't make it. He's real, but and it's so funny because I have two friends who auditioned for Top Chefs and didn't make it. No Top Chef making it friends, but it seems like from the insider info, which y'all might already know, it seems like I think a lot of people come to Top Chef thinking like, oh, I'm gonna come to Top Chef and that's gonna start my brand. But Top Chef kind of wants you to have your own food brand coming in, because that's kind of what both of them had. The problem was their dishes were fine, but it really felt like their online brand wasn't, strong enough to make it, which I'm like, well, come on, y'all.
Yes, I think especially in 2021, we were just talking about this the other day because Jordan and I went to Girl on the Goat in downtown LA, which is a restaurant owned by Top Chef contestant Stephanie Izard. We were just talking about like branding being so important, and like even when you read a menu, you kind of have to know what like the vibe is, and like even the like iconography and like the font and stuff, all that stuff freaking matters.
And we were debating what we thought about Stephanie Izard's branding and menu, and we don't have to say, but
you don't have to say, but
wow, okay. It almost feels like you had thoughts when you say we don't have to say.
We don't have to say. We love Stephanie, and everything we had tasted delicious. But branding is very interesting.
Yeah. It's interesting.
So now, what kind of food did she serve there?
That's a good question. That's actually an incredible question. I would say Afro-Caribbean, Chinese-inspired, LA-influenced, French, like really any singular cuisine you can think of was on the menu.
I would agree. I would say it was like, go ahead, Ify, sorry.
Oh, yeah. No, I was going to say, as fellow foodies, because this brings an immediate follow-up question. Please. And for those who don't know, viewers out there, me and Reka are writing on a show together, and me and Reka have soul bonded because we're both foodies and we talk too much about food. Me more so. But all the restaurants, Reka's probably one of the few in there who keeps up with me when I was like, I've been here, and she's like, me too. And that being said, has LA jumped the shark with fusion foods?
Yeah,
I feel like, because I remember, I don't know if y'all remember when Kogi dropped. Got little Naomi back there. She's out there. I don't know if y'all knew when Kogi dropped, they changed the game because it was like Korean Mexican fusion.
Yes.
And then I think since then people have been to take an improv phrase, yes, anding that and trying to heighten it. Shout out to the improv manual. It's still in Amazon. The school,
no one has
not
ever
available.
shouted that out here. Thank you, Ify.
Yeah. Shout out to the UCB improv manual, a book that exists for a school that doesn't. Goes, yeah, I kind of feel that.
Yes, you're 100% right. Because we were saying yesterday, this is how I feel, and I was mentioning this yesterday to Reka. I think you could say, I'm doing Thai dishes with globally inspired flavors. Or I think you could say, I'm doing whatever, Chinese food utilizing French technique. I think bringing something like that together makes sense. And I think we've seen a lot of people on Top Chef do that really effectively. But once you get where you're like, I don't know, I'm just using ingredients I like.
Yeah.
I think it becomes, as a restaurateur, confusing.
I agree. And I think totally cool to have your own interpretation of classic dishes or whatever. But to even just tag on to what Jordan said, I completely agree with them, but it better taste as good or better than the original. If you're not bringing anything to the table when it comes to elote, just give me elote.
Yeah.
Okay. Reka's absolutely going off.
Okay, I'm going off. Sorry, I popped off on elote. I love elote so much. So it's okay, yeah, show me something different. It's not better than elote? Then
okay. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I love this preamble. We know what we're getting into here. So let's take care of our couple orders of business up top here. You guys know it. Every episode of Talk Chef, we are trying to raise money for a different food-based charity, but this season, okay, I'll do the joke. Yeah. And every season, this season's so different. Actually, this season is different. Instead of doing it every single episode, we're going to do a big fundraise-a-thon in the season 4 finale. So that joke kind of landed, and I think that's cool. So,
I love your joke.
Thank you so much. And so we're going to be announcing that fundraiser soon, so watch out for that. And second order of business, Ify, is actually something we didn't tell you, which is that just like every episode of Top Chef has a quick fire, so does every episode of Talk Chef. This is not cooking related. You don't got to get your smoker out, but this is just Ify preferences related. So we're going to give you 45 seconds, the fastest quickfire in Top Chef history, to answer 10 questions.
Okay.
Now, Ify, I already sensed in your voice, you're like, fuck this. This is stupid.
I'm locked in. That was a focus you were hearing. Yeah. And I took a sip of my bourbon that I got from you know what's the hardest thing before we get into this? I feel like this is a home for this. Yeah. I'm a tangent king and a side king. But especially it seems like we're all foodies, we're all connoisseurs of things we can eat and drink. That being said, lists for those are so hard online because you don't know which list is an actual list of things people prefer or which is a paid advertisement list 100%. And honestly, I gotta say, they've gotten really good at it. They've gotten really good because they put enough of their own opinion flavor on it. But the moment it's a paid advertisement, I know that X amount of spots had to be reserved for who was paying you. Simple as that. So it makes it harder to trust the sanctity of the list, especially when I go to a list. And it's so funny because this is about bourbon, and I've been real into Japanese whiskey, but now I'm let me get back in my bourbon kick. And with that, it's hard to tell, especially with alcohols, if the list is doing this kind of basic thing that is very affordable because it's that paid advertisement, or because they're not everybody who goes to this list is going to want to spend, because they were showing bourbons upwards to 10 grand and 9 grand. So I'm is this for the paid advertisement, or is this because they're not, because they're right. I definitely wasn't looking to spend that much. I was what is a good 50 to 150 priced bourbon? Sure. And so they said Maker's 76.
Is that what you're drinking now?
Yeah. I'm happy with the sips I'm taking, but am I being played? You know, it's so funny. Like the moment you try to enjoy any food or drink beyond like the consumer level, it gets so finicky, which we're really going to get into in this episode, because I don't know if you picked me specifically for this, Reka, but I love a steak. I'm a steak guy. I cook steaks often.
You're a big meat guy.
Yeah, and I cook a really good steak. So I actually have some disagreements with the judgments too, and I have the hottest take for the first dish, because
I'm so excited.
But it is so funny, because there is like, I saw a TikTok, there's like this tequila TikTok guy who's like, stop buying celebrity tequila. You've seen that one?
Sure.
Like, stop buying celebrity tequilas. They're not really that good. And he like did some suggestions too. And like in the end, he made it. It's so funny, because like I feel like I'm in this automatic mode where if there's like a white guy talking condescending to me, I was like, I don't trust you. But he made like a good point with like, he was like, these are some smaller distilleries that's from Mexico and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, you're good. But also shout out to Jason Bryant. He said hi. I don't want him to think that I'm ignoring him. Hello, Jason.
Wow, I love Jason.
All right, let's get into the quick fire question. Sorry for the tangent.
In case you're like, well, are there prizes and stuff? There's big ass prizes here to win.
Yeah.
One of them being a deed to the Terlato Wine Vineyard. If you complete the challenge in 45 seconds.
Have you ever heard of the Terlato Wine Vineyard?
No, but I want it.
Don't worry, you don't. No one's ever heard of it. It's actually a wine that sponsored Top Chef for many seasons. It is unpurchasable. Reka and I have tried. I've called many wine shops, to which they answered, "Ter what?" and then hung up on me.
Yeah.
No way.
You cannot buy it. So if you win the quickfire, you win a deed to the Terlato Vineyard. What are we offering? Cellar?
It's the vineyard. I think it's located in the Bermuda Triangle, because we don't know where to get this wine.
We have no clue how to get this wine.
You could also win a prize that was actually a prize in today's Elimination challenge, which was deeply funny to me, which was a personalized suite of genie appliances, just like you see on the show, meaning they are broken.
Yeah.
So it is like a fryer that doesn't get up to temp. It's an oven that randomly drops temp. It's a mandolin that slices your hand off. All of that could be yours. Ify, are you ready for your Talk Chef quickfire?
Yeah, let's do it. Also, I want to let you answer this question for Carl Mandy, who says, I'm sure if you would agree that tea and coffee are basically the same thing. Reka can answer that.
Listen, if you want to hear a professor of coffee, talk to Ify about coffee. Ask Ify about how beans are washed, and your mind will be blown.
I love that.
What the fuck is a natural wash anyway? Hogwash.
It's a wash that leaves a little bit of the pulp on it, so that you can have some of those fruity flavors come into it.
Hell out of it. Ify, are you ready for your quickfire?
I am ready.
I'm going to start this timer for 45 seconds the moment Jordan finishes asking question 1.
What is your ideal steak cook and preparation?
I like a New York strip, medium rare, and definitely on like a bed of asparagus.
Are you a picky eater?
No.
Would you rather be a farmer or a butcher?
A butcher.
Peanut butter whipped potatoes, hot or not?
Hot.
How many fedoras would you guess Spike has worn this season?
10.
Reinvented classics or a totally new dish?
Totally new dish.
What is harder, being a chef or being a server?
Chef. No, server.
What is the best nut?
Peely nuts.
Eggs for dinner, yes or no?
Oh, of course.
How great are Jordan and Reka?
Oh, so amazing.
Oh my God, Ify, that might be one of the hottest times. And you better believe, Jordan, did you know to ask Ify his favorite nut?
I actually didn't. I thought of it because Stephanie used pine nuts in her dish, made me think about nuts, made me think about how I always want to eat a pine nut, but I can't afford them. And I had nuts on the brain. And Ify, you're a nut guy?
Oh yeah, I love a peely nut, mac nut. I'm on keto, which is why I get into specific, because now I have to cut out mixers unless I'm using Zevia to stay, low carb with my drinking. So bourbons, I like a Japanese whiskey because they're a lot sweeter. But I want to, mix it up. I want to get my bar popping.
You are the one who told me about peely nuts because people have brought it up in the chat, but Ify was on Escape from the Blood Keep and we were on a break, like it was like break time or whatever. And you were talking about the most proteinaceous, least carb loaded nuts to me.
Yeah. The fact that you're still friends with me after that just lets me know.
You were like, pistachios are like this. Oh, your macadamias, no way. And you're like, peely nut.
Yeah.
You gotta go.
Jason asked, do me and Brennan compare keto nuts? And we 1,000% did. I put him on. I brought him a fresh baked keto donut that I made. That was made from this dish I found from our keto recipes
during Blood Keep.
Yeah, this was during Blood Keep.
I think I had some of it.
Yeah. It was wild because it was a recipe from our keto recipes, it was a hotly debated thread because people didn't think that it added up with the actual like keto notes. But either way, long story short, it would be a heavy for one, but it didn't knock you out of ketosis, but heavily debated because it also was using like British, like the imperial system. It was a whole thing. But I used it and made a dark chocolate kind of glaze. And when you would dip it in, it would harden. So it was like an Entenmann's chocolate frosted donut. And I bought it for him and he was real hyped. It was like my proudest achievement. I love cooking for people. So like and keto really is what like brought my cooking from like, oh, I have a few dishes to like, oh no, I be cooking. Like and I started doing this like series where I like cook a meal for friends, and you know, I haven't done one in the past 2 weeks, so I'm overdue. So maybe I'll have to bring y'all over. But the last one I did was risotto, and me and Reika had a big risotto discussion on the firmness of risotto. I did kind of overcook it because it was like a thick one, but
I love it thick.
Yeah, it was still solid. Yeah,
it doesn't need to spread to me. Incredible. Let's actually dive into this because it's like a cool, literally meaty episode. So Quickfire, they go to the Allen Brothers meat factory and they have to butcher dry aged long bone ribeyes.
Also, they had to do something that I love, which is wear little hairnets for their beards. I always think that is very cute.
I think it's cute. Little ones for your nose, little ones for your eyebrows.
Big eyebrow ones,
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah.
So they have 20 minutes to cut chops from these racks of ribeyes and then French them, which is like kind of cleaning up the bone and making them look like a big like lollipop.
Yeah. So, and the thing about this is these are called Tomahawk Steaks. Yeah. And I think they're the stupidest fucking steaks in the world. They're so fucking dumb because it's this long piece of bone that you have to cook with. So like if you're trying to cook it at home, you're gonna have a hard time. Yeah. And also like it's like you know, like there are things, especially in the food world, that are like more flair than flavor, where it's like a raclette. A raclette is delicious. I love it. But the big thing about the raclette is your slow-mo Instagram video that you're going to do of them cutting the cheese. The food industry has this. I feel it's the same way for tomahawks, where it's cool to show you carrying the bone like a lollipop. And I think it's dumb because it's like one, when I'm eating steak, I'm just cutting around bone is already a pain in my ass. So like a long tomahawk is so annoying to me. To me, it's one of the most annoying cuts of steak. And also like, you know, I typically like a nice short rest. Like I don't, sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but when they get to the ratings and he dissed on Stephanie, who had it rest for 5 minutes, I was like, that's a good rest. A 5-minute rest. I'm like, we're ready.
What's going on in your mind? Did you just agree with that?
Yeah, you did make a face.
5 minutes, right?
Oh, me personally? No, I was just shocked that guy's a meat daddy. He's Dr. Meat.
He's Dr. Meat.
Well, this is the thing also, if you might not know this, Reika doesn't eat meat. I don't really eat meat either. Both my parents are vegetarians, so I grew up not eating meat. Now I eat a little. Now
I'm the expert.
Yes, I eat a little fish and occasionally I have some fried chicken, but in general, I'm not really a steak person. So I'm just shocked to hear you disagree with Captain Steak that was on the show, but I trust you wholeheartedly.
I mean, I think he like when he was like, that was a beautiful crust, agree with him wholly. I think he was too hard on the one that he felt it was undercooked, because typically to me, look, we all go medium rare, but the closer you are to rare, the better. So for him to be like undercooked, I'm like, this is the wildest meat take. Like, you're really faulting someone for cooking their meat less than I am a pro, like, I do medium rare because sometimes rare, you like, there are some times where I'm eating rare where I'm like, I do feel like I'm rolling the dice here. Like, I do feel like I have, like, because like the beauty of rare and the reason you can do rare at like these high-end restaurants is because they're getting like the best, cleanest meat. And when you don't know that, you definitely want it cooked more.
Yeah.
I thought like the medium rare that Stephanie had was like where I like to end up with. Sure. Technically, it was more rare looking. So on a technical sense, but if I got that as medium rare, I'd be a happy camper.
Well, I think too, what's interesting, I've never had steak in my life, but this was one of those quick fires that this was a version of it that I dislike less, but where nobody eats anything.
Boring.
Yeah, because it was just on presentation, which only proves my point about Tomahawk Steaks in general. Like, you did not go based on taste. And also, I think because like steak is steak, like it's gonna taste like, I kind of get why they didn't taste it. Like, I think he would go down there and eat all the steaks, because steak is more reliant on your cut of meat than like the preparation. So like, if one steak is good, all of them will be good. So I'm gonna just be true to my meat nature and say that it would have made no sense to taste it, but it does prove my point that you wanted, like, especially when he was like, I wanted to look like a lollipop. I was like, I hate this. I hate this.
The comparison I'm gonna make, it's a wild one because I eat a lot of dessert. I'm like, to me, that is like, because I watch a lot of like cake decorating videos, is like the fondant of like we're like, this makes things look smooth and whatever, and you can do designs. It tastes like shit, and first thing that I discard on that
trash. It's literally trash.
It's just trash.
Yeah.
It's a tarp. Okay, so that's I'm cake daddy. He's meat daddy. You're real meat daddy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, are you pretty nice with with cake prep? Because I'm always blown away with people who can really nail fondant.
No, Ify, nothing. Ify, I must share a story that Jordan already knows what I'm going to say.
This is a fun story.
I had a friend recently. We were catching up. I don't think they're watching this feed.
Yeah.
But they were like, "Oh my God, Reka, I was laughing so hard. Your Instagram is so funny." I was laughing with it with a friend the other day. I was like, "Oh, why?" And they're like, "I love how your brand is like taking ugly pictures of food." I was like,
we gotta talk about people just taking huge swings.
Like,
absolutely.
I will do anything.
Well, it's so funny because I'm like, there's so many. It would have been so hard to hit send on that, because I'm like, if they aren't doing it on purpose.
And that was a verbal send, Ify.
Oh my gosh.
That was face to face. They had to look in Reka's eyes and say that. And I think that's very funny.
It's immensely funny. It is so funny. So to answer your question, if I can decorate a cake well, no, but it almost doesn't matter because my pictures are going to be hideous anyway.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, do you have the Foodie app? It's an app specifically for taking pictures of food.
Whoa,
and it has different. It's called Foodie.
Cool.
Yeah, right there. And it has different pictures filters for different types of food. So like, let me go pick some. Where's something chefed up? Yeah. And so they have different types of like the way that the filters do it accents, like, like sometimes like for a more charred food, a lot of filters make it look darker than it should. Yes. So they have a filter that will brighten it up. All right, here it is. This is when I got the Fly by Xing stuff. I don't know if you've tried that sauce, but it's amazing. But yeah, so they have all these food settings.
Cool.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
I'll break the app because my pictures will be too ugly for
them. Too ugly?
Yeah, they're going to be like, we're just going to delete this.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to get banned.
Yeah.
Incredible. I don't even know if it's worth, so if we normally go through all of the dishes, I don't even know if it's worth it for the quick fire because they didn't taste anything. Like basically everyone made a steak and used butter or oil and some herbs. And on the bottom was Stephanie and Richard. And on the top was Spike, Lisa, and Antonia. And Spike took home the win. He seems to be really.
I feel like Spike should be disqualified based on the fedora, but I feel like the steak guy loves a fedora. So I think there was a lot of this one was an unfair one. I felt the steak guy looking at that fedora and he's like, that's my type of guy.
Okay, we actually have someone that watches the show that's keeping track of how many fedoras Spike has worn this season.
Yes.
So we'll have them check back in and let us know how many fedoras. Yeah, it's sometimes multiple fedoras per episode.
Yes.
Really interesting.
Let's see. Okay, great. So let's hop on over to the elimination because it's pretty related. Basically, Rick Tremonto has a steak and seafood restaurant, and the chefs are going to take it over for dinner service. Each person has to do an appetizer and an entree, and they have to create a menu based on what is found in Rick's kitchen. So they won't really know what proteins they have to work with until they get there. Spike, for winning the quick fire, he doesn't get immunity, but he does get to pick whatever proteins he wants first for both his appetizer and his entree.
I think that's a stupid thing to win.
Okay, we've talked about this in many episodes, Ify. Like, you see it in a little bit in this episode. Sometimes, like, someone's prize for a quick fire is like, you win $40,000 or whatever. And then someone's like, and you win a handshake from this weird old man.
Yeah, I swear, like, I would be the person who every confessional scene, I would be bitching about not getting $40,000 and shaking like Martin Scorsese's hands. Like, I don't even fuck with him like that. I don't like The Godfather. I just wanted $40,000, bro.
Sometimes their quick fires are like sponsored by Hefty garbage bags.
Which can we talk about the sponsorship? The Hefty. I've never had a Hefty bag with the logo on it like that. I'm like, what is this? I want that bag. Hefty, that's a Hefty, like a Supreme branding on the Hefty bag.
It's Hefty.
Yo,
I feel like you would have got a kick out of this, Ify. In season 1, inexplicably, the chefs mentioned Casey Masterpiece so many times.
Many times. They won't stop talking about it. It's not a sponsor.
It's not a sponsor. It's just so comedically satisfying to hear them just drop that. Instead of just saying like barbecue sauce or whatever, like, oh my God, I gotta get some Casey Masterpiece.
I put Casey Masterpiece on this. We're like,
which is like, what? as a barbecue head myself, I've never wanted Casey.
I was gonna say
that's always like Stubbs. Stubbs or go home, baby.
Yeah, it's
Stubbs
like
out there.
Like I don't know, like what the fuck, like off-brand Coke like version of salt. Like it's just like, oh, okay, I guess we're getting the
AC Masterpiece. That is a barbecue I haven't heard of in a while, and the only reason I know what it is because it used to be on Lay's barbecue bags.
Yes, because that's what barbecue chips are made of.
I forgot about that. That's true.
Yes, it used to be on the barbecue bag, and then then somewhere along the line they lost the sponsorship.
They lost their way. So funny. Okay, incredible. So here is what our chefs ended up making at this restaurant. First of all, we got to point out immediately off the bat when Spike gets the opportunity to pick the proteins first, he walks into the walk-in and he wants to do scallops. And this is an issue you see time and time again on Top Chef. Can a chef improvise? We are all improvisers here. I think we can relate to this situation in some capacity. You walk in, you know you want to make scallops. You see the scallops are frozen. Do you still choose scallops? I say that's crazy. Yeah. On the show, they will literally ding you for buying canned garbanzo beans. And I'm like, well, I actually prefer them.
Those are delicious.
Those are incredible.
I think especially if you have another option, it's like, why not? It just confuses me when people on the show do things that they know it's like when someone's like, well, I got waffle mix from the store. I'm like, you know they're not gonna like that.
Yeah.
Why are you doing it?
Yeah. I know, but I do get why. Like, I do feel like it is dumb. Where it's like, does it taste good? Then don't worry about where I got it from. Unless you talk, unless you like.
Completely understand. I think again, I've never had a scallop, not a scallop head. You know, whatever.
Not a scallop head. You ain't on the scallop game.
Yeah, shout out to the Captain Scallop of this challenge. But like, I would imagine scallops are a food that is not good when wet. And I know they are seared quite often. And just as someone who has never eaten a scallop, I can imagine that would taste bad. But maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't. A scallop, I think, is one of the most important seafoods to eat fresh, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like you see it with a lot of seafood on this show. Sometimes, like there's an episode in like season fucking I don't even remember 13 or something where somebody gets so season 9, sorry, where someone gets pre-cooked shrimp, and it's
crazy. That's the craziest thing in the entire world that I can't believe people are doing.
Yes.
On this show, that was the one that blew my mind the most because you could eat older shrimp, right? Like we know how I feel about shrimp. You can eat shrimp that's whatever, a couple days, but you throw it in the pan, whatever, it's fine.
You can eat old anything. That's
true. But to get pre-cooked shrimp and then reheat it
on a
not even eat it cold
on a
cooking show.
I'm with you. Like I don't care where some shit came from. Like you know,
but I feel like when we talk, I'm
shit out of shit like all the time. I don't care.
I'm talking about mixes and beans and all that. When we get to the proteins, that need to be fresh. I'm sorry. That's the non-starter, you know, unless you're making it at home for the homies or something.
Yeah.
But I need a fresh, especially like at these like quote unquote fancy restaurants that they're always doing it at. You definitely want it. Which I gotta say, it feels like every requirement for the men in the show owns a blazer. Like that is their credentials. It's like I own a blazer.
Absolutely. That's what your friends need to do if they want to be on the show.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we'll run through these dishes, and then I do have something to say for a judge's table.
Okay.
So, Ify, we usually just do a quick thumbs up, thumbs down. The criteria is so loose. It is like, does it sound good to you? Does it sound like a Top Chef dish to you?
Yeah.
Whatever you want. So Lisa, for appetizer, made grilled and chilled prawns, confit lemon zest, and tomato salad with crostini. I think I gotta go no. It's the grill and chill.
Yeah. I ain't ever trying to have nothing grilled and chilled.
Yeah, what is this, a Dairy Queen? Like, I'm not, this is crazy to me. Why would you call it that? Also, I'm particular about lemon and tomato together a little bit.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Oh, really?
I'm not.
I think I feel it for you.
It's two acids.
It's a lot of acid.
I think you can't just like squeeze a lemon on a tomato. I mean, you could, and I would still eat it, but you know what I mean? Like if I'm going to something elevated, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think it's the best pairing.
I think for me, as someone who hasn't had shrimp in 20 years, when I hear grilled and chilled, I think of when you guys know how I fucking feel about a dumbass antipasti that's just a fucking grilled zucchini cross.
She hates it.
I hate it. It drives me out. It's insulting. It insults my intelligence. I hate it. It insults my mouth. And to me, that reminds me of like when you see one of those platters and those grilled vegetables are cold and you're like, cool. So this is cooked so that it's chewable, but it has no taste. And the thing that like kind of adds even the slightest bit, like a char, a grill, you've like taken away because now it's cold. And it like doesn't highlight that very well. So I don't quite understand that. And crostini, I always on this show when someone makes crostini, because they never do it like a la minute. It's always like, damn, this shit is hard or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't trust it. Okay. For Lisa's entree, she made New York strip steak with spicy apple caramel sauce and peanut butter mashed potatoes and green beans.
This sounds absolutely tragic to me. I'm giving it a thumbs down.
It's jumped up to me.
I'm a huge sweet and savory fella. I love it. I want it. I need it. And New York, I love a New York strip. So that's going to be hard. At least, like at the end of the day, if it doesn't come together for me, that New York strip will make me happy.
I'm here to fucking try peanut butter mashed potatoes all damn day. I don't care. I will have a piece of meat with apple caramel sauce. That sounds fine to me. I'll eat the shit out of this. It sounds great.
Too fruity for me.
Richard made for an appetizer hamachi with crispy sweetbreads, radish, avocado, and yuzu. That sounds good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. I wasn't sure. Huh? Say that again.
No, what were you gonna say?
I wasn't sure the type of sweetbreads. Are we talking like bull testicle sweetbreads, right?
Yeah.
I thought it was the thyroid.
But yeah, the thyroid of a bull, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've always been, told that sweetbreads are the testes, so that's a down for me.
Oh, interesting. I think Rocky Mountain oysters are the testes.
Yeah.
And sweetbreads are the thyroids. If the thyroid sounds more delicious to you.
Yeah, yum.
Yeah.
Yum, you can get a hormonal imbalance if you eat it.
Yeah, as if I don't already have one. Fuck you, Richard. No, okay. I think this sounds good. I love like a fresh with a fried, like a fried rice cake with a spicy tuna on top, like that kind of thing.
Yes. I love little crispies. I love like a salad that this wasn't a salad, but something that's like really fresh that has a lot of textures like this. For his entree, he did a beef fillet, like a tenderloin, with potato puree, turnips, red wine, and pickled Brussels sprouts.
I love a Bruss. I love red wine.
Yeah, I love a Bruss.
And a pickled Bruss.
Animal lovers said they said thyroid. I heard sweetbreads and just focused on the nuts because that's what it's always been told to me as. Yeah. And I did go to the Wikipedia and it said various other glands used as food may also sometimes be called sweetbreads, included the parotid gland.
Okay, that's confusing.
So sublingual glands, the tongues, as well as ovary and testicles. So yes, in Louisiana, I've always heard like sweetbreads.
Oh, I forgot to say you're both from Louisiana.
Yeah, New Orleans.
Me too.
Yeah. Wow. I like Elaine. The deconstructed plate came back to bite Richard again. Every time a chef does it, it
always does.
It is funny because like someone always is like, I'm gonna break tradition. It's like these people love tradition.
This is exactly what we mean by like kind of when we were talking about Girl and the Go in any restaurant, really, is like, oh, you can totally deconstruct something. I hope it brings something new to the table that like makes me see something about the ingredient or the dish that's like cool now.
I have a hot take.
Ooh, we love hot takes.
You can deconstruct something. Yeah. I think the concept of deconstructing a dish is dumb. And I think that you can do something different with the dish. I think you can change it. But I'm like, what is a deconstruction other than just like taking everything apart? So then you just have to put it back together when you eat it. I think it is a fake thing that chefs use to elevate something that they don't have the confidence to just make good on its own.
I also think you can upcharge it because
absolutely
think if you're like, I made a deconstructed hamburger, you could use like less fucking meat and like whatever and make like whatever croutons out of the bun or whatever the fuck someone would do.
Yeah, it's like, what's the biggest take? It's like, oh, the meat is the bread. I'm like, oh, I don't care. And then they're like, oh, and then the ketchup's on the other side of the plate.
Yeah,
like,
you have to go across the room. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this should not be a dinner scavenger hunt. Let me just eat my thing, make it good. And then also there's so much pressure on the diner of like, well, if you don't get every single bite with every single thing the right way, it won't taste right. I just think it's wrong.
That makes sense.
Sorry.
Okay, here we go. Spike. His appetizer was seared scallops with hearts of palm and oyster mushrooms and scallions.
This sounds good. I know it was bad, but I like all these things and I love hearts of palm.
Am I insane that was all watery things plus scallions?
I do think you're wrong, Reka, because I think hearts of palm is a little watery, but I also think it's decently substantial. And I think a big thing is dependent on how the mushrooms are cooked. So you could be right, but I also think there's room for you to be wrong.
Okay.
I like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
For his entree, the tomahawk chop, which feels rude to say.
Yeah.
Sweet potato puree, and among my least favorite words in cooking, blanch Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, blanch sounds too much like bland, and the process
and it often is.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you already know what mine is going to be in because of all these elements you just said. I already told you how I feel about the tomahawk. And also, I think that is something you've caught on to, which is, there's some cultural appropriation there for the name of that steak. Also, that steak is dumb. I stand by it. I do not like it.
The Brussels sprouts are already a vegetable that some people have a hard time getting behind, especially kids. And I think they're great. I know a lot of adults like come around on them, in their adulthood. But I do think when you cook them, like I like a roast. I like when some of the leaves are a little crispy and then the inside's like nice and creamy and soft. And if you're like, I blanch these, I'm like, oh, these are gonna be hard as hell. Or they're gonna have no flavor and just be like quite wet. I don't want this.
It's such a weird. It would be like if you served. I don't know if you'd be like, like a marinara sauce with containing diced onions or whatever, just something weird. It feels like such a step along the prep.
Yes, exactly. That has nothing.
To mention in the name. It's like these are washed lettuces.
These are wet lettuce.
Okay. Yeah.
Like Gordon's least favorite combo of words: wet lettuce. Okay. Then Stephanie made for an appetizer crispy sweetbreads with golden raisins and pine nuts and a sweet and sour sauce, bacon, and green beans. That sounds great to me.
I think this sounds good.
Entree was beef tenderloin with wild mushrooms and applesauce. I would eat that. Yeah, okay. Do you have a meat thought on tenderloin?
Oh yeah, tenderloins are great. And I think pork with apple always is like a great flavor. Like I like pork with sweet, like if I'm getting al pastor with pineapple.
Yeah.
So I think it was a great move to go sweet with the pork. So yes, I think it's great.
I'm sure it's delicious. I'm just not. Applesauce turns me off. It makes me think of a baby. Yeah. I'm sure it would taste delicious if you blindfolded me and I had it though. So I know that I'm wrong about that.
Yes, I think you're wrong. And
that's what it's all about, being okay with being wrong.
Yeah.
And actually, Jordan, you kind of called Antonia doing pretty decently in this challenge, because yesterday we were talking about Stephanie's restaurant and Jordan was like, Antonia's brand is sort of like Italian and like sort of nice steakhouse food.
Yeah, like pretty much that's what she does, and she's good.
Yeah. And this salad, I feel like, is a great example: a warm mushroom and artichoke salad with poached egg and a bacon vinaigrette.
This sounds delicious to me.
Put a poached egg on top of a piece of shit, and I would eat it. It sounds incredible.
Yeah, I love a poached egg. I love that I learned how to poach an egg, and that's the biggest swag out.
Oh my god, when you poach an egg for someone, incredible. Entree: bone in the ribeye with roasted fennel and chipollinis and a shallot potato gratin.
Yum! I love a gratin.
Yes, me too. This sounds incredible.
I know. I love that now. I know it's gratin because I always pronounce it gratin. So yeah.
Well, then who reads the dishes off a lot? I often mispronounce things because it's words I have not said out loud. They're words I read and hear, and then I never have spoken.
I am curious. Did anyone grow up eating that like potatoes are gratin from a box? I think it came in a red box.
Yeah, the like I've seen it.
The scalloped potatoes, I believe is what they're called. Yeah. Ooh, I haven't thought about those in a long time, but I ate those.
Yum.
I don't know, 6-7 times a week growing up.
Yeah, yum. Okay, so judges table. Here's where I've got something to say, because we have this interesting exchange between Rick, Meatman, and Spike, where Spike is like, well, I use these where he's like, if you see something in a walk, Rick says like, I would like send this back or something in my walk-in. I'm like, but it was in your walk-in. That is what I don't understand. I do think Spike chose them and that is ultimately his fault. But I am like, Rick, why were these in your walk-in if they're so fucking terrible? Like, what were you going to do with them?
Absolutely. Like, yeah, what were they delivered there on accident?
I just think it's interesting.
It is interesting.
And that's what I have to say. So our winner, it was Stephanie.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, I'm sorry. It was Stephanie. And eliminated was Spike, our quick fire winner got eliminated.
Yeah.
It's about damn time he packed his fedoras and left.
And go. Yeah, pack your knife into your fedora and go.
Go. Yeah, he doesn't have a knife bag. He just puts them on a fedora.
Yeah, it stabs through it.
It's just one long hat bag.
Yeah, exactly.
He sucks on this show. We've said before, he's still very successful, so I'm sure he's probably way better now. But I thought on this season he did suck, and I thought his food wasn't that good, and he didn't seem nice, and he was super misogynistic, and he hated that lesbian couple. So on all counts, kind of made a nemesis of me.
Yeah, it's like you did everything you needed to do to make me not like you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Elaine's bringing up maybe those frozen scallops are going to be used in a soup or a chowder. Would that make them taste better, do you think?
No.
I literally don't know anything about seafood.
I'm just if they don't taste good seared or whatever, why would they taste good in a chowder?
Yeah, that's true.
Who knows? I got to ask Rick.
Yeah.
Text him, Rika.
Let me know.
Ify, a question we ask our guests, and it feels pretty apt for you, is what they would have made in this challenge. So if you had to make an appetizer and an entree at Rick whatever's seafood steakhouse and 2 different proteins, what would you have done?
Oh man, I mean, I think I definitely would have did a mango ceviche type. I feel like
Yum.
I feel like you can't go wrong with ceviche. Ceviche is the easiest type thing, and I feel like at a steakhouse type place, having a tortilla chip kind of nacho appetizer is the perfect way to go. And then round it out with a simple yet well crusted garlic butter New York strip steak. Because we're talking about me here, mashed cauliflower. Do a little, get it nice and buttery. Got some Parmesan in there, make it real nice. And I think there's no better pairing to steak than asparagus. Sure, you're gonna have some stanky pea, but
what are you doing with that asparagus? Where's it going? What's happening?
I'm gonna keep it real simple. Get it nice and baked and well seasoned.
Okay, thank you. You passed. Okay.
I'm gonna blanch it. Yeah,
I'm gonna microwave it and kind of drop it on the floor and then be like, I had to make a vegetable.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, Ify, where can people find you if they want to
look, I'll let you know. It's Ify Nwadiwe, Twitter, Instagram. Ify's on Twitch if you want to watch me play video games. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, incredible. And not to promote a show I am also working for, but Ify is a writer for Grand Crew.
Yeah, Grand Crew. Check that out sometime next year. When exactly?
January, I hope.
Don't really know.
We had David on and we said around the same thing. So, yes.
It's also very funny for Rika to act like we can't do our own self-promotion. Rika's not to mention a show I'm on.
I know. I mean, I'd hate for you to check out a thing that I do.
Even though
you don't probably care about the stuff I do.
I just watch the Ify's episode. Wait, what's that? The Bravo producer came in. Oh, I can tell him? Okay, wow. Ify, I'm getting word here that you are top chef.
Oh, well. Thank you so much. I've worked very hard for this.
Yeah.
I worked very hard and I've just said the things that I thought I should say to get that dub.
Yeah, that's perfect. And a lot of people don't know this, but you can become a top chef 2 ways. 1, compete on Bravo's reality competition cooking show and win Top Chef, or be a guest on Rika and I's live stream YouTube Top Chef talk show for charity Talk Chef.
All right. Well, yeah. Look, anytime. Let me know.
Okay. Either way, Ify, an Indian woman's going to tell you you're top chef, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I know. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
I could just say it in that way, and everyone will just assume I mean the real top chef.
Exactly.
Yeah. We always say that Rika is the Padma Lakshmi of this show, and
for sure.
I am the Tom Colicchio.
Yeah, exactly. In every way imaginable, those are both true. Well, Ify, thank you so much. It was a blast having you. We love your little food opinions. They're great. We love you here. You got to hear this man go off on coffee. It's absolutely fascinating. Truly did not know anything about coffee until Ify made me a cup where something about the berry notes or something came out. Incredible. So thank you so much for joining us. And
of course.
we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.